Hello, welcome to my live. Good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world and what time it is for you. Welcome to my YouTube live. Today is Saturday, the 24th of May, 2025, and it's just 1 minute past 7 p.m. in the UK time. And so, for those who don't know me, I'm a therapist and coach, and I come here as often as I can, both on TikTok and YouTube, live to talk about anything to do with mental health, therapy, and human psychology. So hopefully at some point it will pick up as it does, slowly, normally. And some of you will ask me some questions. In the meantime, I'm going to do what I always do when I start my live, which is reading and commenting on some of the posts that I put out today on TikTok. And so, let's get started. This is for people who are replaying it, but also those who hopefully will see me live like now. Okay, the first post on TikTok goes like this. Being emotionally healthy is being sensitive enough to be able to find joy and peace in ordinary experiences. If you need big, pleasurable sensory experiences to feel something, then it means that you are numb and disconnected from your body. And so this is an awareness of how we have all grown to be desensitized to things and take it as normality, but it's not. Being emotionally balanced and healthy should allow us to appreciate the littlest things and find satisfaction in everything, not just big stuff. Many of us, we have conditions, and so for us, we are chasing dopamine, and that would explain that. But I think people don't realize that it is a very important criteria to take into account. Pay attention to what you need in your life to excite you. If it's only big stuff, maybe you want to do some work on yourself, practice mindfulness, start a self-introspection journey, that sort of things. The second post that I put out on TikTok today goes like this. Emotional intelligence is intelligence. Companies who sell you things, politicians, and media who spread news and information, they all understand this. They use your emotions every day to manipulate your behavior. And so this is to highlight how important it is to understand emotional intelligence. Practically everything that exists in society is designed to manipulate our behavior through the understanding of emotional reactions. And so politicians, the way we speak, medias, everything that is on the news, on the television, on social media, and also every single shop who are trying to sell you things, everything is thought thoroughly and been analyzed and through some people, some experts who understand psychology and emotional intelligence. And so just an awareness, it's not about creating some, how do you call conspiracy theories. This is real. A lot of people talk about it very openly in their field of work. And when we start into that rabbit hole, it's very, very fascinating, but also it is quite worrying to realize that we are always manipulated all the time by everything around us. And finally, the last post that I put out on TikTok today goes like this. Being a bad parent doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It only means that you didn't know how to meet your child's needs. And taking accountability for it allows for both parties to start a healing process. And so when we are talking about how parents have let their kids down, and this is why kids don't want to see them, we're not trying to blame. It's not victim mentality at all. It's about taking accountability so that people understand what happened, so that both parties, both the parents and the children, can start to heal, even together. And so there you go. Now let me see. We have 2 people so far who commented. Kelly Shagard Yates said hi, hello. And then we have Josh Vlogs 2012, hi. Good evening to you guys. Is there anything you'd like to talk about, anything you'd like to ask me. I specialize in depression, anxiety, addiction of any type of intensity, self-sabotage, anger issues, and it's anything to do with stress and trauma. But I can talk about relationship as well. I don't know, procrastination, imposter syndromes, overthinking, anything that you'd like to talk about that can enhance your quality of life. Just hit me. I never come live at that time of the day on Saturday. I don't remember. I don't think I did. So I don't know if it's going to be busy or not. So I'm just going to keep going. And at some point, if there's not enough action for me to keep going any longer, I will just say goodbye and I will come back some other time. But in the meantime, guys, if you have anything you want to talk about, do ask me. I'm going to have a sip of coffee in the meantime. That's it. Okay, I'm going to read some more posts and see if that can inspire some of you. The next post that I have planned to put out on Monday goes like this. How you feel about how you feel how much you have is more important than how much you have. So this is practice of gratitude and realizing that whatever that we have is what we have. We can choose to want more. We can always want more. It's not about wanting more. We can choose not to be satisfied with what you have, or think, okay, this is already good and I want more as well, but I can still find satisfaction and joy in what I have already. So if we do this, we are still left with the same amount of things that we have, but we're enjoying it. We're changing our vibrations, our energy, and we're going to manifest more abundance in our life somehow thanks to that. And another post goes like this. Patience is easy if you can focus on now instead of waiting and asking for the future to hurry up. And so this is about, again, mindfulness and realizing that there's only now. There's no future, there's no past, there's only now. And so whichever we are feeling in the now is going to dictate our experience. If we are going to think about the past or the future, now we are going to create an energy that has got nothing to do with our reality now, and we're going to just create more of the things that we don't want. Could it be fear and anxiety of the future, or regret and anger about the past? J. Rose, hi, hello, J. Rose. And the last post that I'm going to read up today goes like this. All addicts and alcoholics are trauma survivors and neurodivergent people trying to function in a society that is designed against them. So this is a bit controversial, but I believe that everyone who suffers from grave addiction, everyone who is in prison, anyone who society judges and condemns are there precisely because they didn't fit the mold of society. And so they had to suffer this. That's it. I'm going to stay a couple of minutes, and if no one asks me anything, I will wish you a fantastic rest of the day or evening, and I will just carry on with my own day, and I'll come back some other time. Okay? Om hello Om Nom. Hi Didi, how are you doing Om Nom? Are you going to save the day? Icy Curd, how to deal with toxic people. All right, thank you. Let's get started with that. Okay, how to deal with toxic people. First and foremost, we want to realize that toxic is a judgment, but also it's a label that exists within a context. And so no one is always toxic to everyone all the time. We are toxic within a configuration, a context, a set of circumstances to some people for a certain amount of time. And so what it means is that we don't want to label someone as they are toxic. They're toxic to you. in that moment because of XYZ. And this is true, this is absolutely true, but we want to make sure that we have enough mental flexibility to realize that people are not just this or that. They're behaving in such ways that are hurting your feelings, and it's important for you to do something about it. And so in that, with that in mind, yes, they're toxic, but it's important for me to highlight that we are all, where we are, and we will all be toxic to some people, whether we're aware or not in our life, at some point in our lives. So, now that this is out of the way, how do we deal with them? We set boundaries. We basically remind ourselves that we don't suffer from people, toxic people. We suffer because we allow them in our lives. It's that simple. There are some exceptions. If you are living in a household and you are young and you can't leave and you're being abused, there's nothing you can do. You need to ask for help, or you need to be old enough so that you can leave. But for the vast majority of us, if we suffer from people, it is only because we allow them to hurt us. We can say no. We can leave, we can create a space. We can learn how to talk to them in a different way so that they don't assume that they can keep on taking advantage of us. Right? And so we set boundaries, we tell them, okay, I don't like the way you spoke to me, I don't like what you've done. If you do it again, I am going to do that. And so this is what boundaries are. Boundaries are not about saying, I don't like it. It's about saying, I don't like it, and if you keep doing this, I will do that. Right? And also, of course, if they do it again, you have to take action and apply, apply and do the thing that you said you would do. Right? And so this is how we deal with toxic people. Does it help? Does it make sense? I think it. This is me going to the shortcut, but we can elaborate that, expand on that. If you want to tell me more about your situation, more specifically, I'm more than happy to give you other suggestions. But at a general level, this is it. We can't change people, but we can decide who we're going to allow in our lives. So this is very important. Well, more often than not, we are expecting for people to change, to get better. And this is what is getting us hooked to that situation. And we keep on allowing those sort of people in our lives, and we don't know what to do. And we think that, if I'm being kind to people, they're going to take advantage of me. And it's not like that. It's only because we haven't set boundaries. And so we can learn how to do this. The vast majority of us, we don't know how to do this because no one has taught us. Many of us are people pleasers. If we have some unhealed emotional wounds, one of the way we're going to navigate in the world is going to be as a people pleaser, because that's how we know how to operate. But we don't have to do this. We can create better system where we are putting ourselves first. This is me, my boundaries, my happiness, my priorities, and I want to connect with people, but only with the right ones. I don't want to be liked by everyone. I don't have to. It's a big world out there. And so choose your tribe, choose your people, set your boundaries, and eventually, the more you do this, the more you are taking action not to allow toxic people in your life. So what it means is that the more you do this, the more you're changing your sense of self. And the less you allow those people to even see you. You will not exist on their radar anymore, and you will only eventually attract, or mostly attract, nice people. Does it work? I secured. Om I am here, I'm doing okay. I'm studying, but still wanted to say hello and tune in maybe. Thank you so much, Om I have been studying for math for 8 hours. My energy is going low. Okay, so now it's time for me to have a break. Time for you, to have a break and talk to me. Give your brain a little break from the studies. I secured. Me and my friends told her, and we set boundaries, but she doesn't change, and she keeps following us and being stubborn. So if she doesn't change, this is the thing, she doesn't have to change. You set boundaries only to express what you expect from people if they're going to be with you. If they don't change, it's fine. Don't see them. If she's following you, run, hide. I don't know. Jump into a bicycle. If they're a stalker and it's problematic, get the police involved. But just tell them, I'm sorry, but it's not working. We wish you the best with compassion. However, it's not going to work because of X, Y, Z. It's really simple. You said, we set boundaries, but she doesn't want to change. She doesn't change. And this is the thing. They may not change. Don't expect them to change. You give them a chance, and if they change, fantastic. If they don't, it's all right. It's a big world out there, right? And she keeps throwing us and being stubborn. Just tell her, sorry, mate, but we talked about it. It's not going to work. Okay. Nom, exactly. That's what I thought when I saw the notification. Ha ha ha. Okay. Okay. So, hit me, guys. Anything you want to delve into? I secured. Are you happy with what I said? J. Rose. How to deal with family in the same living space, but constantly try invalidating you through their assumptions and limits. Biggest issue is not letting it keep me down and affect limiting myself. You take it with a pinch of salt. You don't react to them. You don't give them the energy. You don't give what they say the importance that you're giving at this point in time. So basically, whatever people do and say is just words, thoughts. They mean nothing. The meaning that you are going to give those things are going to create how you're going to feel it in your body in terms of emotions and feelings. And so you can choose a different definition. At this point in time, you get hurt and annoyed by them constantly putting you down and being miserable and negative because you believe that what they say is true and you believe that what they say is important. And so imagine that tell yourself it's not true, it's not important, it doesn't matter. And then if you can find a way, and I can talk about it, but if you can find a way to realize that whatever people say has got nothing to do with you, you can choose to either let it in, to absorb it, or not. You don't have to. So if you can find a way to do this, whatever they say don't matter. Right, and so I'm going to give you an analogy that I use with my clients. Imagine that I am sat down in a park, and there's a friend of mine, someone that I know, who suffers from Tourette's. And that person is going to go, Didi, I hate you, stupid idiot, is going to say all sort of things, and he can't help. So I'm not going to get angry at that person because I understand that they have a condition, right? So I'm going to say, oh, hello, mate, you're doing, chill, whatever. And then let's imagine that 5 minutes after, there's a little boy who's been watching us and found this very, very amusing. So now the little boy is coming at me and is going to say, all right, Didi, you stupid, you stink. and again, I'm not going to take it personally because I know that it's just a little kid that is bored and he may not even understand the things that he's saying to me. So, no problem. But now, suddenly, a colleague of mine that I don't like is walking across and tells me, Didi, you stink, you stupid, I hate you. And now suddenly, I'm going to be annoyed. The same thing has been said 3 times. It only touched me emotionally once. Why? Because of the emotions, the emotional intensity, the meaning that I have chosen to give that thing. So now it's hitting me and I'm feeling bad about it. And so you can do the same. Change the picture that you have in your mind of the family members. Instead of seeing them like people that you have been seeing up to this point, like whoever, cousins, brothers, sisters, auntie, uncles, parents, imagine yourself being in a zoo and see a bunch of monkeys. They're all there, they're all going, rah, 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 rah. Just monkeys. Whatever they say, you don't even understand. It doesn't matter what they say. It does not matter. Or even better, imagine that you are in a zoo, but now you're in the parrot section because they can speak. There's a lot of parrots who are talking all sort of things, saying the things that they tell you. It's just something that they have learned how to repeat. They don't even mean what they don't even understand what it means. And so if you are there, it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to affect you because they're just monkeys or parrots or whatever that you can imagine in your mind. And so that will help you take it with a pinch of salt and let them just say, okay, yeah, whatever, whatever. Think about the drunken uncle at the wedding who talks nonsense. Imagine them all being like that. And so that suddenly, if you can do this, whatever they say will not affect you anymore. Right. Now, obviously, for some of us, depending on how bad it is, it's easier to create a space between you and people who are constantly trying to drag you down. But if they're your family, and if they're not traumatizing you or abusing you verbally constantly, then you can absolutely change the visual that you have of them. Try this and see what happens. Do you believe that this could be something that you can do, J. Rose? I secured. Thank you for your help. Thank you so much. I secured. But I have an aunt who is also toxic, but I can't escape her because we sometimes go to her house in the summer. So let her be toxic. It doesn't matter. The thing is that when people who are toxic try to hurt us with words or behavior, they are trying to get erection from us. And so if you can visualize them like something else, then you don't have to give them erection. And this is the thing, the less you give reactions to them, the less they will try to go at you. At some point, they will just give up. The reason why they keep going is because you have created a dynamic. It's a subconscious emotional dynamic. We react with everyone. We have a different way to behave with every single person that we know. Every single relationship that we have in our life is different. We're going to be different with mom and dad, with our siblings, with our friends, with our foes, with our colleagues, with clients, with the boss, with police officers, with strangers in the street. We're going to behave differently with every single person. And so, I lost the plot. It happens sometimes because of my brain. What was I saying? Sometime, yeah, you're going to be someone different with everyone. And so when your aunt is trying to attack you verbally, the moment you stop reacting, when you are starting to undo the subconscious dynamic that you have established with her up to this point, right? So basically I was saying everyone has got a different relationship with everyone. You have one with your auntie. You know that whenever you see her, you will feel a certain way, you expect certain things, you will talk in a certain way, and you allow her to take over. And she does the same. Whenever she sees you, there's a subconscious automatic program. Who am I going to address? Ah, my niece. How do I speak to her like that? What sort of relationship do you have? I take control. I put her down. I let go of all my frustrations. I project my unhappiness on her. And this is how we do things together. It's always been like that. And so if you stop reacting, you will start to actually create a new system, a new dynamic between you and her. But as long as you keep reacting, you're just dancing the dance that you have chosen to do together since you've been knowing each other. I hope it makes sense. I secured, does it? J. Rose, that's my goal, thank you. How my body and thoughts react has been my biggest obstacle. I'm creating mantras to tell myself until I can shift my energy. I love the zoo imagery. You think about the queen baboons with her big a-hole showing all the colors. The other ones that are the most problematic to you, that will make you laugh if you think about that. And that will take all the drama away and the pressure away. Yeah. We can talk about that. You said that how your body and thoughts react has been your biggest obstacle. We can talk about it. There are many, many ways to address this, but you talk about using mantras to shift your energy. And so if it works for you, good on you. Now there are other systems, other ways to address this. We can talk about this if you want. But we have to start a new conversation together. You have to ask me something. Zero Fox, clown. What do you mean by clown? I don't understand. Omnom at Zero Fox, behave. Thank you, Omnom. J Rose, laughing face emojis. I secured. Thanks for advice. Thank you. Omnom, laughing face emojis. Okay, thinking about the baboons, right? J Rose, thank you. I'm open to Let's see what's coming up. To all suggestions. So there are millions of things. So I need to understand you. For me to give you some suggestions, I need to understand what sort of things you want to address and in which ways they're affecting you. In which shape do your problem manifest into your life? And give me a little bit about yourself, and then I can help you with that if you want. This is how my brain works. I need questions to know where I'm going. And you know the analogy of the baboons, like Zero Fox who called me clown. We can use it like that. All the trolls who are going to say some nasty, naughty things randomly on my life, I can imagine them like literally like a baboon showing their bum. And just like that, there's no resentment, no animosity, no problem. I'm just laughing it off, and then I'm going to move on from that. Essentially, whichever way we decide to look at the world, at people, at the event in our lives, is going to create the nature of it. So we can absolutely learn how to change the filters so that we can have better experiences. And that applies with everything. This is precisely and essentially what healing, therapy, and self-growth and personal development is all about. It's just about learning how to see things from different angles so that we can empower ourselves as opposed to feeling disempowered. Since we were on toxic people, I could update on my neighbor, all right? I wanted to talk to her, but she dished out the day I was at her place. I went to talk, okay. And so what happened next? I just checked on YouTube when I was live. I am. It's all working. And she was screaming around about throwing her newborn out the window and told her older daughter, 9 years old, she was going to kill her if she left her room. Okay, so that sounds very alarming. What did you do? Did you call the police? Did you get some other people involved? This doesn't sound very, very safe and stable to me. I hope that you called the police. I would have. And I was staring at her with my jaw open wide, and she shouted at me, "What the FUCC are you staring at?" Okay, so basically she's showing that she's very emotionally unstable, very unhinged, and very aggressive, which is not good for you and for the kids or for anyone at all. I'm just waiting for more information about the situation. In the meantime, anyone who is in the background watching, please do feel welcome to ask me anything you'd like to. I come live precisely for that. I did not call the police that day, but I did text the daughter to text or call me anytime if anything happened. Okay, I would have called the police because you never know what can happen. In one moment, one day, one instant, a lot of terrible things can occur. But again, you do what you feel is right to do. I'm only basing myself on the few things that you said. We can always make an inquiry, and if there's anything, then at least we know that we have, even if there's nothing, at least we feel that we have done the right thing. Because telling the daughter to text you may not help. People who live in abusive families, they live in fear. They will probably not dare calling you anyway because they are too terrified with the repercussions of them asking for help. I wanted to, but I don't have good experience with the police, but I'm going to report her to Child Protective Services. Okay, so do this. Yes, do this. Absolutely, do this. Yeah. Please. David Allaward, what is RTT therapist? Oh, okay, good question. It's what I do. So RTT stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy. And basically, it's a type of hypnotherapy that is very powerful because it gets to go back into the memories of the past and we address any person's problem from their subconscious mind. And so essentially, whatever problem that we have is born from an event that has got us to create a system to protect us from that event. So it could be abuse or neglect or any of those things in between. And everything that we suffer from is originally a protection mechanism. They are maladaptive. So anxiety, depression, addiction, all those things, anger, they don't help us in our lives. However, we put those systems into place because of XYZ. And so with RTT, we enter the subconscious mind and we go back into the places where we have created those beliefs, those emotional triggers, those emotional blocks that back then we believed would help us and protect us. And then it's my job to change the emotional energy of this so that we no longer need it. Everything in our body and our mind we hold on to because of the emotional intensity that is attached to it. Because our mind believes that it's important. And so the emotional charge is what keeps it coming back. But also our nervous system is dysregulated, our brain doesn't function properly when we are traumatized because we are adapting to that and we need to protect ourselves. And so the work that I do is to address the subconscious mind and do a bit of tidying up. And also we teach the clients to remember that whatever happened to them then, and it's not only in childhood, even with PTSD, even if they had some very, very traumatic experiences like a few months ago, they're still different to what happened to them a few months ago because we know things that we didn't know then. And what I do, I teach people to realize that now, if anything that happened to them in the past happened again, now they can deal with that. They can use their intelligence, their intuition, their imagination, their resources as adults to deal with that. So what it means is that they don't need the anxiety anymore. They don't need the overthinking anymore. They don't need the binge eating anymore. They don't need the anger anymore. Or whatever is the problem, those are just subconscious mechanisms that we have put into place because we didn't have all of this then. Now, if we can find a way to remind ourselves, I am a grown-up, I'm powerful, I am able, I am resourceful, then we don't need that, those things anymore. And this is how we address problems. First, from the subconscious mind, and then after that, we also do some work here at the cognitive level, because whatever that we repeat at any level, we reinforce. And so everything that we do are habits of actions, but also habits of thoughts and habits of emotions and feelings. And so we need to upgrade some of those habits. We first get rid of the original system, and then we fine-tune the habits that we have developed so that we can now change our behavior and our reactions as well and have a better life. That's it. I hope that was clear. I'm realizing that it was a little bit convoluted. I hope, if it's not clear, ask me again, and I'm happy to, if you can give me maybe some cases, and I could explain to you how I would use RTT for that specific case, if you want. Omnum, which has been gone by 4 other neighbors in the past couple of years, but they always put on a show when the social workers are here. They never find anything incriminating. It doesn't matter. It's not about whether something is useful or not. It's about you doing your best. If I was in your shoes, even if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. I will keep doing because I've got to do something. As opposed to what? We're going to give up. That's it. We tried a few times. Now we're going to stop doing this. And now the poor kids are going to suffer from that. And so this is, it's not about whether it's happening or not. It's about you doing the right thing for as long as needed. We all learn about learned helplessness. It's not your fault. It doesn't mean that we are stupid or bad. It only means that we have learned about a learned helplessness. And what it is that I've tried a few times. It doesn't work. I'm going to give up. But the mindset we want to have is, I don't care if it doesn't work. I'm going to keep going and find a way to make it work until it works. And so that's the difference, right? But maybe it's something that some of you watching may want to think about. We don't realize this, it doesn't reflect who we are as a person. But indeed, society has taught us about learned helplessness. It didn't work a few times. We're going to give up. The people who are successful in any field, they only have one thing in common. They just kept going. That's it. And so, yeah, something to think about. But thanks anyway. For whatever that you do is something, and it's appreciated, of course. David Alawot, keep doing what you do. I hope you succeed by talking to me or... Oh, if you're talking to Omnum, thank you. Talking to me, yes, I'm good. Thank you. I've been doing it for 8 years, but thank you for the kind words, nevertheless. I'm going to stay a couple of minutes. If I don't get any more comments, I think that's fair enough. I'll call it today. David Arawade, can you talk about, okay, thank you. Can you talk about people with trauma from their parents separating because I am one? Well, tell me, how is it affecting you? Because parents separating doesn't always cause trauma. It can be done in a very amicable way where everyone is happy. So in which way has it traumatized you? How do you believe your parents separating has affected you? And in which way does that trauma express itself in your life today? Do you have some thoughts? Do you feel bad about yourself? Do you have some flashbacks? What sort of things do you experience? Trauma is a big word. It can be so many different things. And that's why I need you to tell me what it is. Otherwise, I won't be accurate if I don't have those details, I'm afraid. David, like it's made me extremely cold and sometimes I feel like I have no emotions. Okay, so basically it's affecting the way you are behaving in your relationships, right? Let me think about this. I need a question to direct me. Can you ask me? Okay, you are feeling cold, and sometimes I feel like I have no emotions. Okay, now I can talk about this. The no emotions bit happens very often when we are going through all sort of things, as in, we realize that expressing ourselves or feeling our emotions or both is not a good thing, for whatever reasons. Either we tried and nothing happened, or we expressed our emotions and bad things happened. And so we end up with the belief that we must repress some part of us, but also with the parents separating, maybe there's some aspect of shame, something to do with shame. Very often we repress some of our feelings and emotions because we are ashamed of them. So I don't know what it is at this point in time, but because of that, we end up repressing more than just shame. We can't choose which emotions we're going to repress. If we put a gate here to not feel certain things, we're going to be disconnected from all the other emotions in various degrees. And so that would explain that. If you're feeling cold, maybe it's because you've learned somehow that that's the way you must behave in order to be safe or in order to be seen, to be accepted. So I would need to know more about you to know which one it is. And you say, sometimes I feel like I have no emotions. Yes, you have created some sort of system to avoid certain emotions and feelings because they're very unpleasant. Maybe, again, they are tainted with shame and guilt, self-blame, some sort of things. Maybe there's a part of you that believes that your parents separated because of you. There could be so many things. Any or more of those things. I hope that gives you some idea. But again, we can talk about it in more details if you give me more details. David. Tamador. Hello, Tamador. Hey, you don't have to answer this, but if you watched the You, what do you diagnose Joe the show you? I don't understand. I'm going to read it again. I want to talk to you, but I need to understand what you say first. So if I read it literally, it goes like this. Hey, you don't have to answer this, but if you watched the You, what do you diagnose Joe the show you? It doesn't mean anything. I'm so sorry. Can you find a way to write it again in a way that I can understand, please? Omnum, I could not hear what you said. I was interrupted. Can you repeat what you said, or should I just watch later when you post? I forgot what it was. Can you ask me again? What is it that you want me to say about what? I've got a very short attention span. Remember, I've got ADHD amongst other things. So if you can remind me, what is it that you would like to know? Because I've moved away from whatever, and I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Just ask me again. There's a Netflix show called You. All right, okay. So what about this? I mean the show, the series that's called You. Okay, so now that I know that it's about a show, let me read again. So you're asking me, how would I diagnose Joe in the show You? I don't know, I haven't seen the show, so I wouldn't know. But I have an idea. There's a lot of manipulation. I think the guy and the girl are trying to win over the others in some, and so I don't know, maybe some psychopath, sociopath, narcissistic tendencies, those sort of things. I would assume when it comes to shows like that, it's often the case, but I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't know. Um, uh, I will watch it at some point if I have the time, which is a big if, because there's so many things to watch. But I can come back to you if I ever watch it. Why do you ask this? Do you know someone like that in your life? I think the guy would be most probably some sort of sociopath. Omnom, I talked about wanting to call Child Protective Services on my neighbor and that they never find anything when they do a check. Okay, so what I said is essentially, it doesn't matter if they never come back. Just do what you think is right to do. Just follow your intuition, follow your heart, as opposed to giving up, right? Um, um, what we may advise. Now, the truth of the matter is that I'm not here to tell you anything at all. You do whatever is right for you, right? You have your own reasons. But personally, I believe that we live in a society where people give up too easily because we've been taught to give up. And so my job is to remind you that you don't have to give up. Even if it hasn't shown to be productive so far, doesn't mean that things cannot change. It also doesn't mean that you can't find different ways to call different people to make things happen. So that's what I meant. Does it make sense? And also, you can also replay that, of course. I always leave all my lives on YouTube, on my channel, for people to replay them. We don't all have to get involved with whatever is going on with your neighbors. However, we're all different. But for me, if there are kids involved, I would always go the extra length because there's no one to protect them. Kids or animals or elderly people, any of this situation, I will personally always do something. But that's me, Omnum. I'm hoping if the day comes that whoever finds proof that we have all these calls and checks documented. Okay. Melly, hello. Hello, Melly. Real gamer, what is success? Success is when we have achieved an expectation. That's it. Now there are different definition. Everything is contextual. I think success depends on context. So success is dependent on whatever context it is. But basically, there are some people who want to have certain things. Sometimes it involves being better than others. Sometimes it just means doing what we want. So it depends on the person who's looking at it. But success, for me, is no more or less than achieving what you want. You're fulfilling your expectations. It's a success. Yeah. But then there are different definitions. The one that I could add to that is that success is learning how to appreciate things for what they are. For me, this is the ultimate form of success because it means there's not even expectations at play. If you can be grateful of everything in your life, it's a success. Your life is successful. And there's no expectations involved. So that's the best version of success that I can think of. Real Gamer said hi, hello. So does that help? Does it work for you? That definition of success? Omnum. And if they do find something, they know it's been going on for a prolonged time. But again, you're talking about what they do. I'm talking about what you do. It doesn't matter what they do. As long as you keep going, you keep sending an intent in the universe. And there's still some chances that things may change at some point. But if you give up on that, if everyone gives up because it didn't work the first times, then the poor kids, they don't have anything, they don't have much hope, right? That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if it worked or not. It's about what you choose to do. And this applies for everything in life. A lot of people say, what's the point of me doing this? Because because of the doing in itself. It's about changing our mindset, I think. But then again, I don't want to be judgmental about you. I understand that we're all different and you have your reasons and you do what you feel is right, and it's okay. I'm just sharing with you what I would do. That's it. Melly, I have a hard time setting boundaries. I get it. It's not easy to set boundaries because if we need to set boundaries, it means that we have been taken advantage of in the first place. And so we have that relationship with people who are taking advantage of us and we are scared of them. We allow them to manipulate us for XYZ reason. We're intimidated by them. We're outsmarted by them and so forth and so on. So in that sense, it's not easy for many of us indeed to set boundaries. But you can learn, it's a skill. Everything is a skill. And so what it means is anything can be learned if you can find a way to create a system that allows you to practice that skill in a way that is simple and easy. So little baby step. Don't try to master something 100% straight away. Just go in that direction. Learn how to accustom yourself with that thing so that eventually it becomes easier and easier for you to do, right? Do you want to talk about your situations? What do you mean by this? Why do you have to set boundaries? Is it someone in your life? Is it everyone in your life? Real Gamer. Yes, thank you very much. Fantastic. Thank you, Real Gamer. Tamador. How do people know that their trauma are affecting their acts and their mind? There's a lot of traumas, symptoms. So I'm going on Google now. Okay, common symptoms of trauma. Intrusive thoughts and memories. So that includes flashbacks, nightmares, recurring distressing images or sensations that happened in the past that are coming back. Avoidance, trying to avoid places, people, so typically social anxiety. Right? Avoiding situations that reminds of the trauma or pushing memories of the event out of our mind. Another one is negative thoughts and feelings. Constant negative thoughts, difficulty feeling positive emotions, so we're talking about depression here, and feeling of worthlessness, shame, guilt. Another one is hyperarousal, feeling on the edge, easily startled, being triggered very easily, getting offended all the time, having difficulty relaxing. And then there are physical symptoms, digestive problems, headaches, fatigue, sleep disturbances, and all sorts of different. Whatever we have in our body is a continuation of how we feel. And so there's a strong correlation between your physical and your emotional health. The cognitive symptoms, difficulty concentrating, poor decision making, memory problems, emotional numbing, feeling detached, experiencing emotional numbness, so we don't feel emotions, withdrawing from social interactions. There's changes in behavior, because we can have PTSD. It doesn't have to be just in childhood. So reckless or self-destructive behavior, substance abuse, changes in appetite, sleeping patterns, relationship difficulties, trouble trusting others, maintaining relationships and forming attachment. So there are more. Basically, the idea is that you can't function normally in society. The main thing is that we have some emotional flashback and we are on a constant state of edge. We don't trust people, we are a bit paranoid, we are negativity biased because we've been hurt in the past. So we don't know. So if it's people, is that. If it's to do with a situation, it's going to do with the situation. If you had a car accident, it's going to be anything that reminds you of being in a car, for instance. And so yes, trauma basically affects the way you function. When we're traumatized, we're going through an overwhelm, too much stress, too much fear, too much pain, too much of something that we can't deal with, and we have no coping mechanism. We don't know after the event even how to regulate ourselves. And so now our mind is going to adapt to that by creating a system to protect us. Those systems are going to be maladaptive in the sense that it's going to create more problems than solving. But there's still systems that we put into place. And so if you are feeling a lot of anxiety, depression, all of those things can be a cause of a development of an original trauma. So yeah, any of all those things. Now, we all experience all of those things in some capacity in our lives because they belong to the spectrum of human emotions and states. However, it is problematic when it's affecting our quality of life. That's the difference. The difference between being normal or having a label of any conditions at all will be the intensity, the volume, the duration, and the frequency of those things. I hope it makes sense. Does it, Tamador? Tamador, I do have flashbacks, but I thought everybody have them. They all be about old friends and conversation that I had with someone. Flashback, is it just mental or do you feel distress when you have those flashbacks? Because we're talking about emotional flashbacks. It's not just about some thoughts. You're going to feel some distress, some anger, some anxiety when you replay those moments. Nightmares, typically, would be a very, very, if they are recurrent, if it's a pattern, they will be telling us that indeed there's a trauma. And the trauma can also, of course, alter our personality. So people who are shy, people who are introverts, things like that, they could have become that because of the trauma. People who are very reactive as well. People who are who easily also fall into addiction. Many of us who have a propensity for addiction because the trauma has got us to repress some part of ourselves. So we don't feel certain things. And so now, for us to feel things, we need to do big things. Skydiving, alcohol, drugs, sex, big, pleasurable sensory experiences because we don't feel anything otherwise other than that. And it's one of the posts that I talked about at the start of the live today. And it goes like this. Being emotionally healthy is being sensitive enough to be able to find joy and peace in ordinary experiences. If you need big, pleasurable sensory experiences to feel something, then it means that you're numb and disconnected from your body. Tamador, no, I don't feel anxiety, but I always think of things that I could have changed, and I do have dreams about them. So if it's not affecting you here, then you may not have trauma, right? Trauma affects you at an emotional level. It affects your body, your health. Do you have any chronic illness, pains, things like that? There are more and more studies and research that show how there's such a strong connection between what happens to us in childhood and how our very physical health will develop all throughout our life. What makes you think that you may have trauma anyway? Again, for us to have any condition or any label, it's got to affect our life. It's got to prevent us from functioning. Tanmay Singh, hey man, you are doing great work. Thank you so much, Tanmay. Rain Cook, if you look in, you will find all the answers. Are you talking to Tamador? It's true, but not everyone can do this. It's a skill to learn how to do this. But it's true that if you can practice mindfulness and meditation, you can do that, but it may take many, many years. And not everyone has the motivation to do that either. But I would agree that if you can find a way to do this, you may find all the answers that you seek, indeed. Tamador, I don't think I have trauma. Okay, so you don't? So you're good, right? And again, just to emphasize this, the flashback that we're talking about are emotional flashbacks. So there's the visual, but there's also an intense emotional experience that goes with that every time. It's not just the idea of something. Anything in the background, in the back? Who wants to ask me anything at all? Trip Vader. Hey, hello, Trip Vader. How you doing? This is cool. Okay, I'm glad you appreciate it. For those who are new, I'm a therapist and coach, and I use my free time to come here on YouTube and TikTok to give some free advice to anyone who needs it in regards to anything to do with mental health, therapy, human behavior, psychology, relationship, mindset, mindfulness, and even a dash of spirituality if you're into those sort of conversations. Black Storm, what does RTT means? RTT is the protocol that I use with my clients in my practice. It stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy. It's a system that was invented by Marisa Peer, and it's hypnotherapy on steroid. So we address everyone's problems from wherever originated in the subconscious mind. And that's it. I can talk about this if you want, but this is pretty much this hypnotherapy, and we regress back into the memories of the past, and because there's no such thing as the past, when we change the relationship that we have with the past, we are essentially addressing the personality of the person. The way we see ourselves is down to how we remember the things that we have lived up to this point. And so there are some key moments in our lives that have really shaped some of our habits and behavior, and those are the ones that we want to revisit through the process of hypnosis. And so my job is to change the emotional energy of those memories so that we don't need to have the problem that we have that were originally solutions that we put into place momentarily. They don't work because they are solutions that were designed by a child but were never meant to sustain an adult's life. And so in that sense, they have become maladaptive. So again, anxiety, depression, overthinking, anger issues, self-sabotage, any and more of those things are originally systems that we have put into place to protect us from whatever happened to us in childhood, or from whatever we perceived as unsafe. And so abuse is what we talk about when it comes to trauma, but there's also something called small t trauma, and that's neglect. If we don't feel that we are safe, if you don't feel that we are supported, loved unconditionally by our parents or caregivers, if you don't feel seen or accepted for who we are, if we have to do anything to justify our worth, then we're not going to feel safe. Love is not unconditional, so we're not always safe. So now we need to develop some things to look after ourselves. And over time, those things can develop and get out of control and really create problems in our lives. Tanmay Singh, how do you handle stress? I have just had one of my childhood dreams be broken, something I used to think about 24/7. I worked for it for 2 years. I can't move on. So you're not talking about stress, you're talking about disappointment, isn't it? Stress is a whole different conversation. Maybe you're talking about the stress of the disappointment, right? So stress, I can talk about it all day, night, all day long. But I think what you want to know is how do you deal with the stress caused by the disappointment. Your lifelong dream didn't manifest itself, and so there are different ways to look at it. Is it really over? Is it really done? Because sometimes we don't have something that we want only because we have a specific idea of how it would look like. But sometimes our dreams can change shape and they can be slightly different. And so maybe it's not over. Maybe there are different ways for you to achieve the same sort of result, but in a slightly different way. So do you mind sharing with us what are the childhood dreams that have been broken? I can give you an example that I often give. Let's say, for example, if I always wanted to play basketball, but I have an accident, a car accident, and now I lose my both legs. I may think to myself, I can never play basketball again. My life is ruined. My childhood dreams is ruined. Alternatively, I can think, you know what? I can still make it happen differently. I may learn how to do some wheelchair basketball. I can still compete. I can still reach a level. I can be a Paralympian. That's huge. It's fantastic. So we can still do some things that we want to do, but maybe it will be slightly different or very different to your original dreams, but still the same somehow. Rain Cook. Are there any breathing technique or exercises that you use? Yes, plenty of them, plenty of them. It depends. Breathing is the most underrated skill that we have, because there are so many things that we can do with our breathing. Breathing is the only one thing that we do when we are both awake and asleep. And so, in that sense, it's also a very unique skill because it connects us to the subconscious mind. And so, through meditation, mindfulness, there's a lot of ways to use breathing. But also, when we feel stressed out, anxious, overwhelmed, we can breathe to reset our nervous system. When we want to get into a certain state, there's a lot of different types of breathing. So it depends. But yes, I have a big awareness of the breathing, and I practice it and I teach it to my clients depending on their needs. But I think having an awareness of the breath is already where it starts, because we tend to take everything for granted. And the moment we start to have awareness that there's something called breathing and that is precious and it's special, it is great to feel it and to be experiencing this. Now we have essentially done the first step to learn about mindfulness. Omnom. This might be very simple, but I'm getting stressed again and I want to smoke. I haven't smoked in over 2 weeks and didn't normally feel the need to. Okay, so you can there's a man hack that you can use for smoking. I want you to realize that every time you think, I can't do something, this is bad, this is forbidden, I don't want to do this, the more you are going to actually make what you want appealing. It's going to do the opposite. And that comes from an evolutionary response. Whatever is rare, scarce, or forbidden is very, very exciting and appealing. And so the example that I always give is that visualize a bunch of cavemen, cave people, cave persons, and there's only one apple left in a tree. They can fight for the apple because there's only one left. But if there are plenty of apple, they can chill, they can do a lot of things and get back to it whenever they feel like it. And so what I'm trying to say is that you can change the way you think about it. If you tell yourself, I can't smoke, smoking is bad, I must not smoke, the more you say this to yourself, the more you will want to smoke. So what you can say instead is this: if I want, I can smoke. I'm a grown-up. I live in a free country. I do whatever I want. I can go down the shop and buy myself a pack of cigs. Easy peasy. However, I am choosing to do something else. So don't say I'm choosing not to smoke, because the brain doesn't process the negative. So if you say, I don't want to smoke, you still get smoke. So it's going to make it harder for you. Tell yourself, I am choosing. If I want, I can choose. If I want, I can smoke. However, I am choosing to be free. I'm choosing to go to the gym. I'm choosing to go for a walk. I'm choosing to drink some water, to whatever, to practice meditation, to do some breathing technique. Try this, right? Replace I can't do this with if I want, I can, but I'm choosing to do this instead because I deserve this, because I want to be healthy, because I want to be mentally clear, because I want to look after myself. Hope it helps. Blackstorm Gaming. Okay, understood. All right. Tanmay Singh. Right. Stress of disappointment and regret. Yes. So we don't want to talk about regret just yet because maybe it's not over, right? What is the dream that you're talking about? Tamador. How do you seem so calm, like you built it? Nobody is that calm without really trying to. Because I've got no stress in my body right now. Right? I'm not always like that. When we go through different states, all of us, all throughout the days, all of our life. And so there are some times where I'm a bit stressed out, and you may be able to see it. But today, I'm chilled. I've done all sort of things. I also been to the gym early on today, and so that helped me let go of the stress inbuilt in my body. So this is something that people don't realize. We get stressed out because we react to things outside and inside of our body all the time, consciously and subconsciously. And as we do this, we are building up stress in our system all throughout the day, and even when we sleep at night during our dreams. And so one of the ways, there are many ways to address this, but one of the ways to let go of the inbuilt stress is to exercise, is to move, is to dance, is to get yourself physically active. Just that will release some stress that is inbuilt. And so for me, because I've got all my conditions, I go to the gym a lot, either gym or walk in the park. So I alternate. But when I go to the gym, I'm doing some strength training and some stretches, and both of those things absolutely release the stress. Right? And so I love my gym anyway. But it doesn't mean that you have to go to the gym if you don't like the gym. There are millions of other things that you can do. But it's about realizing that if we don't do anything about it, we're going to accumulate stress. Again, both consciously and subconsciously, and both when we're awake and asleep. And so it's very important to have a sort of awareness. And so lifestyle is important for mental and emotional health. Did that answer your question, Tamadar? Omnum, how do I distract myself? Does this feeling fade with time? What do I do instead? So do what I said. Tell yourself, I can smoke if I want to, but I'm choosing to do some breathing, practice some mindful breathing instead. Travis, right? Or you can say, I'm choosing to practice some mindfulness techniques, or to do some meditation, or move, put a record, dance, get rid of that energy, get your mind away from that thoughts as well. Amanda, are you like a type of therapist? I am a therapist, yes. I am a clinical hypnotherapist and an RTT therapist. And so depending on where you watch it, if you watch it in the UK, I am a therapist. If you watch it in America, I'm not a therapist, because for American people to be called therapist, they must do certain specific, they must have some certain diplomas. I think you need to be a family counselor and or a psychologist or psychotherapist, which I'm not. I'm not any of those things. And so in America, I'm not a therapist. I don't know what I am. But in the UK, I am. Ryan Cook, I like to picture an impregnable guard defending the gate of my mind, but won't allow any low-level frequencies to enter. This helps me identify the energy and not feed it any emotion to sustain itself. If it works for you, it's good. But for me, there's a lot of protection, guard. And really, when you talk about energy, it's not about protecting. It's about understanding it so that you have a better relationship with your body and that you can allow for some flow to come in and out. We don't want to avoid a certain energy, we want to understand. And so the energy of fear, anxiety, anger, they're not bad. If you know how to understand them, you can process them and let them out and then resume your day, right? But if you're always trying to keep away all the bad energies or emotions or feelings or states, then you're actually creating a state of tension, resistance, avoidance. And it's not how I would personally suggest to be. Now, having said that, if you've been traumatized and you are just healing, yes, this is what you want to do. But once you have been through your healing journey and you don't live in fear anymore, you may realize, okay, now I can start to reconnect with myself. It depends, we're all different, right? And so, yeah. If it works for you, good on you. I'm just trying to expand the conversation and show you a different perspective. That's it. Grasshaft Hoya. Hello, Grasshaft Hoya. Where are you? I'm in London, in the UK. Omnum, that has somewhat helped until now. I have cigarettes at home and have not smoked them. I can deal through most feelings, but for frustration, I need a literal replacement. Okay, do you do something to stop the cigarettes? Gym is really nice, but it's not practical. I can't always leave what I'm doing and go to the gym. So here's the thing. Have you sought any help from professionals? Now, smoking is super easy to stop. So again, I'm just throwing it out there. If you were going to use RTT for smoking, just like that, super easy, for sure, 100%. Some stuff are more tricky to address, but the smoking tend to be very, very straightforward. So that could be something that you may want to do if it is a real problem, right? You need to have a system to address the reasons as to why you have created and allowed that habit. That's it. And also, you're talking about the fact that you still have cigarettes at home. So why do you have cigarettes at home if you don't want to smoke? There shouldn't be any cigarettes at all. It's about indeed you finding a system, something to do instead. The reason why you smoke is because the smoking is your stress regulator. At the subconscious level, you believe that when you are facing stress, overwhelm, the one thing that will make you feel better, the one thing that will help you regulate your nervous system is smoking, because of the emotional association that you have with that activity. And so again, if you work with someone like me, we could address the reasons behind it and change this all. But you don't have to. Again, smoking is not a big addiction, as in I've never come across any problem when it comes to people who need to stop smoking, as opposed to other stuff. But what you can do is to just choose a different lifestyle. So if you don't like the gym, do something else. Great. I don't know. I need to know about you. I don't know what you can do. I don't know what you enjoy and what you don't. But you just need something to help you deal with stress. That's it. What you could do, so it depends what sort of work do you have. You could change where you are, go for a walk. But then when you say you can't at work, can you smoke at work? What sort of work do you do? But again, the alternative that I can always share with you is to practice mindful breathing and mindfulness. Rain Cook, your insight is very important to me. Thank you for your perspective. Thank you so much, Rain Cook. Thank you. Tamador, actually, I started smoking when I was 8 and quit at 11 because I didn't know what addiction was. I think it's not because you didn't know what addiction was. It's because you didn't have a propensity for addiction. People who get addicted, it's not because they suddenly find out that there is something called addiction. People who get addicted have a propensity for addiction. So they have some baggage, and for them, anything that is going to distract themselves from their body, from their state, from reality is very special, it's very precious, because they live in a constant state of stress, distress, unhappiness, or pain, suffering. And so it's not like some people decide to be addicted. Some people can try all sort of things and they never get addicted. Why? Because they don't need that. People who get addicted have a propensity for addiction. They have some trauma that are not dealt with. They have some conditions that they don't know they have. And so they need some systems to help them cope with life and navigate through it. Does it make sense, Tamador? Omnom, I'm finishing high school. I could always smoke at school since most teachers also made 5-minute breaks in between lessons. Sometimes I was allowed to leave the classroom when I was overstimulated / overwhelmed. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure what to say about this. I mostly called a friend, went for a walk around the block, or did breathing exercises. Okay, did that work? Did the walking around the block, calling a friend, and breathing exercise work? We smoke because there's nothing else that we know to do in that moment. So, as you said, go for a walk, do some breathing, get a friend, talk about bits and bobs that's got nothing to do with stress. That will help you. Can put some music, anything that takes your mind off the state of stress. Keep away from the stress, of course. And yeah, go to the gym regularly if you enjoy the gym, so that you are addressing your baseline of stress on a weekly basis, at least. Tamador, where are you from? I was born in Paris, France, but my genes are Chinese. My parents are from Hong Kong, and I've been living in London, in the UK, for longer than I've been living in France. So yeah, I am an international man of mystery. it's a little bit slow tonight, so I'm not going to last very long. I think that I've been here for long enough. I'm going to say goodbye. I will come back some other time. I will no longer come back at that time. I don't think that was necessarily the best time, but I will try to come back maybe earlier next time. Next week, I will try different times and days. Let me read the last comment. Be careful with the stabbing. It's not like that. It's not like that. There are scaremongers. There are some places where it happens, but it happens in all the big cities in the world. And so it's not like that. We don't need to be paranoid about London. I never have any worry about it because I'm lucky I live in a good place. But also, even when I go in town, in central London, I've got my radar. I know what it is to live in a big city. And so a lot of, let's say, right-wing press are going to push that narrative. Stabbing everywhere is not true. It happens, but whenever it happens, it's on the news, and so there's not a lot of them. The stabbing that we have is nowhere near as big as the shootings in America, for instance. Right? And shooting is much more, there's much more casualties, it's much more dangerous, and there are much more. The right-wing news will make you believe that there's stabbings everywhere. It's not true. There are some, as there are in any big cities. But if you have a little bit of street smart common sense, then you should be okay. Unless indeed you live in some borough. There are some boroughs that are very bad, but this is again everywhere. I was born in Paris. Paris has been very dodgy for a long time, also, and many other places all over the world. It helped, but when I can't manage my emotions, I feel like I have to smoke. Yes, because you haven't got other systems yet. It's that simple. So you want to learn how to regulate your emotions. You want to learn how to understand your emotions. We can talk about it next time if you want. But essentially, the overwhelm, the stress that the cigarette helps you with is internal, right? Because we're talking about emotions here. So we can talk about it. I mean, it's not just internal. We can also respond to, you're talking about studying. So you may be overwhelmed. You may be working too much. You may be under pressure because there are some deadlines, because there are some exams coming up. So it's for you to, we can talk about this in the future, but you can learn how to see things from a different angle. So you take it with a pinch of salt. It's not as heavy as it seems. It doesn't have to. You can actually let go of the pressure and think, okay, you know what, I'm just going to do my best. Whatever happens, happens. And suddenly the stress is gone. You don't need to smoke. And you may even be better at your exam as a result of this. LD, thank you. This is a very helpful channel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Guys, I'm going to go now. Thank you for anyone who were here and who interacted with me. As I do with all of my live on YouTube, I'm going to leave this behind. And so if you want to replay it, you can retrieve whatever things that we talked about in this live. I will come back sometime next week. If you don't follow me already, please subscribe so that hopefully if you enjoy this, the next time that I go live, you will see a scheduling of my next live so you know at what time I'm on. And if you're free, you can always pop in and we can carry on with the chit chat. I also exist on TikTok. I put posts there every day and I also do live there. So, you know, YouTube, TikTok. And finally, on my profile on YouTube, there's a link to my website. So if you need any more details about me as a therapist and coach, bang, just there. Easy peasy. I offer free discovery calls to anyone on Zoom for anyone who is interested working with me. Omnum. All right. Thanks again, Didi. Wish you a nice time. Bye. Thank you so much, Omnum. Do remind me of that conversation next time. I can talk you through maybe a whole system that can help you let go of the pressure of your studies. It doesn't have to be like that. Right. Guys, I love you all. Thank you so much. Take care. Look after yourself. And remember to be kind to yourself. Okay? And on that note, bye-bye.